So the question here is, who are you? Who are you really? Well, how do you want to program your world? Because you're powerful. And so that's the beauty in understanding the power of the mind and the energetic body and all the gifts and things that you may not even know. I mean, in hypnotherapy, you can take somebody with excruciating pain and you can systematically level that pain down. Now, you don't want to take it away because then we have to have some sort of mechanism to understand pain. But you can take someone in really deep pain and level it down. It's called control room, and it's very fascinating. And you can take a control and you can go into their subconscious mind and you can ask them to level down the pain to a 3. What?
Welcome to the Acid for Squares podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Dahl.
And I'm Cody Blue. And if you like what we're doing here, please like, subscribe, rate, comment, hit that notification button. It helps us out a lot and we'd appreciate it. And on today's episode, we have our dear friend, Turu Marks. Now, Turu is the president of Amigo Studios. She is a producer at Lab 9 Films. She's a producing partner on a very special project that we will talk about later on. But most of all, she is, I guess, what you would define as a spiritual healer, but we truly have never really seen anyone like Turu. And our first meeting with her was in a ceremony that she was running, and it really blew our mind. So let me actually...
It was actually the first thing we ever did in the studio at A-Frost Podcast Studios. Yes. Before we even opened our doors, we did your Kundalini activation in here.
Yes.
And there were like 20 people. I don't know how we fit everyone.
It was wall to wall.
It was wall to wall.
It was wall to wall.
Yeah, so first, thank you for being on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for being on.
So happy to be here.
And I want to tell our audience that, so when you came in, it was the first thing we did here. We filled this studio space. I don't know, what do you think, 20 people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things we love about you is you spoke about it and did it so practically. And we don't even know necessarily what you did. I think you called it a Kundalini attunement.
Kundalini activation light integration.
Wow.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay. All I can tell you.
I light you up. That's all I know.
All I can tell you is she was chanting and everyone was convulsing on the ground.
There's convulsions. Yeah.
There was a woman that at one point had gone onto a spaceship, was abducted. No psychedelics, no nothing.
That's right.
And we literally we ran up to you and we're like, okay, what are you doing? So let's start there. What is the work that you do spiritually? Like, what is going on? What is a Kundalini activation? Like, speak in layman's terms.
Well, I like to just tell people Kundalini is our life force energy. So it's really not that complicated. You know, these big words, all this spiritual chat. But at the end of the day, it's just energy, and energy gets blocked. So as we grow and we get our conditioning and, you know, we start to kind of understand how to shut that down, what I do is help people open it back up. And that can mean anything from igniting your creative energy to healing, you know, your body, to tapping into that sexual energy in you, creation. It's just everything. Without it, we wouldn't be here. I don't understand quite how I got the gift, but apparently I've had it since I came into the world.
Oh.
Kind of put it to bed, kind of didn't know what to do with it, and it kind of rose up in me, and it was part of my spiritual awakening. So I ended up training in San Diego and just being invited to this mentorship, and it was just so natural. And the thing that really shocks people is that when they feel it and they feel that movement in them, it can feel very otherworldly. But the truth is, it's literally the thing that keeps them alive. It's just tapping into it and letting that fire kind of burn through you. So it's really beautiful work.
So this stuff can be, you were talking about blockages that happen. So
Yes.
is this from like traumas? Is this from like belief systems? What is it exactly?
Yeah, I mean, it's all things. You know, again, as we kind of like form our identities and we start to learn from the world and our environment, you know, this is how you should be, this is how you should act. We can sometimes disconnect from that true nature in us, the God in us, the thing that allows us to wake up and function and live and be on this planet in true joy and bliss. And when people's Kundalini activate, they feel I believe, this kind of God energy, this source energy that flows through them, that that reminds them that they're not just a body, that they're this creative soul. And especially if you have trauma, if you're adding trauma onto already kind of this trying to function in this third dimension, we tend to disconnect really easily from that. And if you layer on trauma, any kind of trauma, those things just get more and more blocked. Again, I feel like we want to overcomplicate this whole thing because we forget who we are. So for me, I feel like this work and all the work I do is just helping you remind yourself who you are and the incredible innate power in you to heal, to love, to create. It's in us. But again, we kind of can disconnect from that. So all the modalities I use, it's simply just to get you to fall in love with yourself.
For her, the activation that they actually did 2 here.
Yeah. Yes.
And the second one that you did here, one of our studio technicians, Elmer, he's very into the esoteric and stuff like that, but learning from like books. He had never had any sort of real in-person experience.
Yeah.
And it was his first time coming and being a part of anything, and he didn't really know what to expect and whatever. And also, I think we had even more people in that time, so it was real packed. Everyone was just kind of like right up next to each other.
Laying on each other.
Yeah, I don't even know how you guys were walking around doing stuff. And he said that he had the most incredible experience.
Changed his life.
It changed his life. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And it's so simple and yet completely not understandable. And so my favorite thing is, especially if someone has not had kind of a lot of experiences in different modalities, when they come to this, they have no idea what just happened to them. So often they look at me and they say, can I say fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Can say fuck. Yeah.
What the fuck just happened? And then I can't really explain it other than you just opened up. And it can change your life like that. And that's the work I like. And I love that.
And that was the amazing thing about, it's awesome that we've developed a friendship now. And it was very what the fuck when we just met you and all of a sudden lay down and, you start doing this ritual. And one of the things is the energy feels like it's rising up from within inside you.
Yes.
And, I think a lot of people, when they think of spirituality, supernatural, paranormal, it's something external. But this was almost like a dormant energy around the root area being ignited or fueled. Can you explain a little bit? And is that what you call the Kundalini? Is that the difference? Yes. It's the dormant energy inside of us?
Yes. And often it's kind of likened to a snake. And so it's got this spiral energy. And in particular, it can go up the spine. And when the Kundalini energy comes up the spine, there can be a massive awakening that goes all the way and shoots up through the crown. I mean, that's the most intense experience a person can have because it is literally your life force blasting up your body, going through your spine and just reaching to heaven. It's wild. But often you'll see undulations. Literally looks like there's a snake uncoiling in the person's stomach.
You mean like their body will be moving?
No, they're literally... Their body might move, but sometimes it doesn't move, but the stomach starts doing this.
Whoa.
And I'll never forget the first time I saw that.
Wow.
But the whole reason I knew that I had the gift for this, to help people with this, was because I was at a week-long meditation and I was having spiral activations and my body was doing this and my body was doing this. And I was like, what's happening to me? And the woman next to me says, oh, you're having a Kundalini activation. And I went, don't know what that is. And as the days progressed, she looked at me and said, you have the gift. You have the gift. And again, okay. But I found myself in the training and there, all my spiritual gifts just opened. It was pretty wild. But the things that I can see happening, sometimes subtle or sometimes very intense, are just unbelievable to watch.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm having come back to me this book I read many, many years ago called Kundalini. And the most interesting thing in the book is it had this term. I can't remember what the term was, but they were saying essentially it was around attunements. And the idea was that there was a frequency that could be passed down lineages of teachers, essentially, and that this frequency could be imprinted onto you from another person. Is that what's happening? Are you transferring a frequency that is allowing this to unwind? Like, what is happening? Or is this as simple as spinning around. And that's why the whirling dervishes do their techniques, and so many spiraling, ancient spiritual practices.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Well, it's hard for me to answer that because I'm also a Reiki master. So I learned different sources and different ways to tap into energy. I can feel energy, I can see it, and I can push it, and I can pull it. And then the vocalization or the light activation or integration is a frequency. So, we all know, because we come from bands, we were musicians. We already knew, we were channeling back then, and we didn't know. I didn't know that that's what I was doing. I was using my body. So when the sounds started coming out as I was using energy, it was so much more profound because I was using frequency. I was using sound frequency on top of energetic movements. I don't exactly know what's happening. I just know that I've always been able to do it. I think I told you once I used to short out the televisions, or the lights would just go crazy.
I do that
me.
too.
Right.
They used to joke at when I was working at a creative agency, they would, if I was in any sort of riled up mood, they'd be like, Tanya, get out of here. You're messing up all our computers. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll go take a walk for a second.
I break the stuff in my house is like, sorry. But it's interesting to learn that that's controllable. And that the force of that doesn't have to be chaotic or random. And that has been the most fun for me to understand that there's a way to understand how to use it so profoundly, so we're not so lost in all the triggers of the world. And that, to me, has been the most fun. Because we start to understand that you're this kind of beacon or this channel, whatever you want to call it. You have this awareness that is so deep. I often say to people, well, they'll say, are you gifted? And I say, well, I think I have a profound awareness of so many things that are going on around me that I can tap into them differently. But it's just an awareness.
Right. You're becoming conscious of what's already there.
It's conscious. It's waking up. It's the whole notion of waking up to the power in us, and everybody can do it.
So if somebody is experiencing something like you and I were talking about with messing up electronics or something like that, how can they start to learn how to harness that energy for themselves instead of causing chaos on all the computers and whatever?
Yeah, because you have to understand, some of us are just more energetically tapped in. That's just how it is. And, often if you're a very emotional person, that's when the energy will explode. And some people, they will suppress that, but people like us, we can't. So it's always just, this intense thing that's happening. So, I just highly suggest finding people like us, that can help you understand how to harness that, how to channel it, how to use it for good, how to heal yourself, how to help others, and how to walk through the world with love, because it's very powerful. And if you don't know that, you can actually hurt your own self.
Oh yeah.
Are there any techniques or anything like that people people actually do at home if they are experiencing something like this?
Well, I think recently I told you that I've incorporated in breath work into my modalities, into my healing practice, because what I realized was that the energy is incredible, but if we can't make it make sense in our bodies somatically, sometimes it can be really difficult.
What's somatic? Somatic
is literally just a feeling.
Okay.
So your body is feeling things in a somatic way.
Okay.
So you bring in the spirit work or the energy work, and then you channel it into this body. And then we have to process that in a way that our body can understand it. Because I used to find a lot of the work I did was esoteric. It was out there. It was very spiritual. But the breath work allows all that to come into the system. That's how I have found connecting the dots of the healing for me and what I've seen in people that have experienced. Because when I do breath work, I do energy work too. So you're getting both things. The way it can integrate and release old trauma and tapping into your inner child, getting into the things that you maybe suppressed, memories, old things you didn't even know you've shoved down. I've noticed that combining the energy work with the breath work is profound, and it really shifts people.
There is a book called The Body Keeps the Score that we've talked about on the show before. So in that it's saying that when you have trauma, like emotional trauma or something like that, it can attach to different parts of your body and make it hurt. When we have like physical pain, a lot of time it's from emotional storage, storage trauma, whatever it may be. So that, because it's interesting, when you first did the Kundalini activation, my left knee had been killing me. I fell inside of Amazon Fresh, like carrying like jugs of water and slammed down on my knee. It was so painful for so long. And you literally came over and put your hand on my knee. And I did not tell you. You did not know that that was going on. And now I don't have knee pain anymore.
Woo.
But
it's
magic.
It's magic. I don't understand it, but it's beautiful. And, you know, I used to have a lot of health issues. I had autoimmune. I was not well. And I healed myself. Because I understood the power I have. And really, I think that's what I want to talk about, because when we're not tapped into our own ability to heal, we're going to outsource. We're going to always outsource to others, which is fine. Sometimes we need to do that. But the profound healing that can happen when we peel back the layers of the trauma or the things that, or even just simply an accident, you know, it's amazing what can occur. They're miracles.
Can you explain what happened to you? Because first of all, autoimmune disease, I know a lot of people that have that.
Yeah, it's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic and it's growing rapidly.
Yes.
And so can you explain like what happened to you and how you moved through this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I believe is that I was living a lie. I wasn't living an honest life for myself. I didn't know who I was. So I had been masking for so many years that my body started breaking down.
What do you mean by masking?
Like I had been showing the world I was one way, but inside I was a spiritualist.
Wow.
I was living in a third dimensional world trying to be all the success and all the things. And, you know, I was doing it well, but inside I was missing something. And, you know, often when we're missing something, we look for it in other people and then we don't get it back because that's not how it works. So the whole process of getting to the point where I didn't think I could even be functional any longer, and then having the spiritual awakening, which then gave me the blueprint. It gave me, I call them breadcrumbs. It started leaving little crumbs for me to follow. And the only reason I healed was because I followed them. And I knew I had to. I was like, if I don't think I'm going to make it out. I'm going to get sick, like really sick. I just kept doing it and following. And then that's when I started, you know, meeting mentors and people along the way that said, oh, you got the gift. I do. I don't care. I'm going to try this. And I just kept following that. And through that process, I started to find out who I was. And through that process, I realized that I was a deeply spiritual person.
Whoa.
And then I had suppressed that because that was not okay. I did not grow up comfortable with that. So it just came raging out.
We like to say, show us a healer and we'll show you someone who healed themselves.
Yes.
You're saying you were masking, not living in your authenticity, embracing the spiritual aspects of yourself, that it manifested an illness. And once you embraced it, you evolved into who you are now, therefore healing the trauma. 100%. So therefore, that would imply that the denial of our spiritual nature can cause illness and disease.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I deeply believe it. I lived it. I'm a walking billboard for what can happen when you surrender to spirit. I didn't think I could ever do that. I didn't even know. But the thing is that I was brave enough to do it because it's not an easy path. It's getting easier right now. I mean, we're having amazing conversations we couldn't have had years ago.
Yeah.
But it was a very scary conversation. And even to speak openly about seeing spirits and, you know, seeing energy. I don't need anything. I don't need exogenous substances to see wild things. I see them all the time. I feel them. I hear them. And these were things were absolutely terrifying as a child. And I was told, well, you're probably not well. So when you're a kid and you're experiencing these wild things, you feel that you're crazy. Oh, you need medications or you need therapy or something's off with this person. So you grow up that way. So you mask, you hide it. It takes a lot of bravery to be willing to sit in front of the mirror and look at yourself and find out who you are. Because also you have to look at the ways in which you have basically hoard yourself out. You will sell your soul. You will give it away just to fit in. Just to feel like
or for money.
You're part of something.
Yeah.
Yeah. For money, for fame, for whatever, for accolades.
Community.
You have to be so honest with yourself and you have to take responsibility. I think that's the part that gets really tricky. Because like, if you have to believe that you've made yourself sick, if you have to sit with that and go, well, I chose this. That's really hard stuff. But the beauty in it is the awareness of that you're in control. Because you actually chose all that. And look at the power. You could make your own self sick. What if then you could make your own self healthy? And that was my awakening was, wait a minute. I created this entire scenario. I created this story. And the power is to wake up to that and know that you can completely create a different story. The road to that is not so simple. And what I realized with the work I do is that not everybody responds the same way to each modality. So that's why I try to really open myself up to understanding what every person may need. And you do that by sitting with somebody and allowing them to share who they are. And you may start with one lighter modality, maybe a little Reiki, and then they start to open. At the end of the day, I would say everything is energy. It's always energy. There is nothing else. There is no other modality. It's all energy. It manifests in different ways. And the whole thing about it is falling in love with yourself. But how do you do that?
Yeah, good question.
How
do we love ourselves?
How do we love ourselves? It's so cliche.
Easier said than done, though.
I have to love myself.
Yeah, but easier said than done.
It's easier said than done.
It's so hard.
And also to do it consistently.
And to do it every day.
And also to know, though, that there are going to be moments when you fluctuate.
Right.
Then you have to come back and be like, no.
Yeah, because spirit will kick your ass.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't stay humble, you get your ass kicked.
Yep.
And then you can fall into the victim, mentality of, oh, well, see, I put myself out and I failed and I'm a victim. See, that always happens. It always goes wrong because you have to continue to learn. You have to continue to push through those really tough moments. That's the whole trick. I think the beauty of the modalities is you're going to find something that's going to help people break through, but they have to want it. Mm-hmm. It's magic, but it isn't. It's magical and it's mystical, but the person has to come and show up for it and really want to do the work.
Yeah, you use several different modalities.
I do.
And, because I would like to talk about all of them, unpack them. But one of the things that just from we'll go back to the Kundalini activations.
Yeah.
Often, so we practice Reiki, there is what you're taught, which is almost just to give you the confidence and the certification or whatever to get to the table. And then next thing you know, you start doing what you're taught. And then next thing you know, you're in an altered state of consciousness and something else is working through you, right?
Yeah.
And everything else was just to give you the confidence to show up, to set the stage for you to go into a flow state, right?
Yeah.
So was that the same thing with you with the course you took in San Diego to learn Kundalini activations? Did they teach you a practice and then the next thing you know, you're doing it and you're channeling the healing and the real medicine's coming from the channeling? Is that how you feel? Or is there something in the teaching that you can share with us?
I found that teaching very profound.
What is it?
Because there was no teaching. It was like being. That and my mentor was incredible, Min Claire. Because she recognized it in me. She doesn't just invite everybody to this work. So you're always going to be in the midst of people that already are just, it's running through them. Because Reiki is very different. But the thing I loved about it, because I don't like rules. They don't work for me. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like having to do something in a protocol. It makes me crazy. I'm an anarchist. I want to blow shit up. I'm like, let's blow some shit up today. Don't tell me what the fuck to do. I hate that.
Our kind of people.
Yeah.
Spiritual anarchy.
It was just fun because we just showed up and for a week, 8, 10, 12 hours, I don't know. We just channeled energy. And that was most of it. And there was a little discussion, but I think that was just because people want that. I didn't want it, but a lot of people are just like, well, give me some rules, And the thing I just loved most about it was that it was literally just getting yourself in. It was like tuning. It was like creating a tuning fork is how I felt with that training. And it attuned me. And even in Reiki, you get attunements, right? As you level up, you learn new symbols and all that. But what I even realized with that was these are ideas and they're really fun, but it's always energy. I happen to feel as though I bring Kundalini energy because I believe I'm a divine goddess. I believe I tap into that very intense, divine feminine. And I did not always do that. I was very in my masculine for many years. And she gets...
We talk about this
we talk about this love.
You two bonded on that.
Yeah.
What's the archetype? Can you two talk about this for a second? Because this is one of the most fascinating things. Both of you were very in your masculine, and part of initiating yourselves into this more spiritual version of yourself was moving into the feminine. And you called it an archetype to me once.
Yeah, it's like the Sigma.
The Sigma?
Sigma female. It's an archetype. It's like they talk about beta and they talk about alpha, but there's a Sigma. So it's this kind of something that's not discussed very often, but it's kind of been talking, it's more popular now. But it's this kind of intense woman who is so in touch with her power that she does not need to control you. She is not competitive because her power is so deep and it's so spiritual. And I think what's happening now is, we had to be, I was understood that I had to be very alpha in my business life, but I was not. I was very different. So I didn't lead that way. I didn't lead with aggression. I didn't lead with, but I felt like I was supposed to. Mm-hmm. So I kept trying.
Yeah, you too.
And it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt me. It was painful. It was not who I was, which is why I kind of talk about it made me sick.
Yeah. I rejected like all aspects of myself that were feminine, which is wild. Like growing up, I had predominantly male friends. I used to say I didn't like women or girls. I skateboarded and surfed and was like just very like, I don't even know where this sort of like hatred came from because it made no sense to me. Like it just made no sense. Like my grandma was one of my like closest women in my life, and she was very much had tons of girlfriends and she was very in her power and whatever. So I don't know where it came from. It had to come from society. Yeah. And the shedding of it has been so wild. And I'm dealing with it every single day. I notice like intrusive thoughts come in and I'm like, whoop, what's that? Yeah. Like that's not how I actually feel. This is something that's like programmed into me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's wild. It's really interesting because the feminine is it's intuitive, it's flow, it's not this like the masculine is very like forward motion and very like boundaries and
get shit
whatever.
done.
Yeah, it's that sort of energy. And though I do think that everybody needs a balance of masculine and feminine, it's important. But in my first ayahuasca ceremony, she literally said to me, she's like, you're too in your masculine, you have to be in your feminine. And I was like, ew.
I know. What?
Yeah.
Me? I'm strong ass bitch.
Yeah.
But then you realize that the strength is not in that. Mm-hmm. The strength is being who you are and who you were supposed to always be. And that conditioning is a lie. And that goes into the hypnotherapy kind of conversation, which is you come to the planet and they program you like a machine. Well, they have to. They're trying to make sure you don't hurt yourself, but then also they're programming you the way they believe you are. They don't know you. You're sovereign. You came here to live a wild life. They don't know you. So they're operating from their own system. So if we just keep programming people the same way that we were programmed, that's why we got all the ancestral trauma and we got all this stuff that just comes down the line. And the power in knowing that you have been programmed and you don't have to choose that. Because right around 12, the brain starts to kind of form and then the programming just becomes what it is. So imagine if I told you were operating from a 12-year-old mind. You'd be like, no, I'm not. And then I would prove to you that you are. Because those reasons why you come to see me, that's why.
Can you talk about why 12 years old? Because the brain does develop into the 20s, but we do talk about 12 years, that age as like an inflection.
It's puberty. It's right around that time.
Right around that time, you are fully programmed. You're kind of like, I understand the world. I know how people are. This is the way I have to protect myself. This is who I am. You believe it fully. And then, of course, you start to go out and you live in the world. And then guess what? The programming is so strong that everything you believe, it will happen. Law of attraction. It's what we think we are. So the more we think we are one way, we're just going to continually be drawing that in. So the question here is, who are you? Who are you really? Well, how do you want to program your world? Because you're powerful. And so that's the beauty in understanding the power of the mind and the energetic body and all the gifts and things that you may not even know. Because again, we understand that we are given these limitations because they think they're trying to help us. And even our brains, because it's so deep in the subconscious mind, our brains are trying to protect us. So it will tell us a lot of negative things because it's like, don't do that. I mean, in hypnotherapy, you can take somebody with excruciating pain and you can systematically level that pain down. Now, you don't want to take it away because then we have to have some sort of mechanism to understand pain. But you can take someone in really deep pain and level it down. It's called control room, and it's very fascinating. And you can take a control and you can go into their subconscious mind and you can ask them to level down the pain to a 3.
What?
This is something that mesmerism, also known as hypnosis, has been used forever. It's medically reduced pain. Can you explain what going in the control room? We've never had anybody on here talk about this. How you go into the control room, how you can work, because you can work through pain in terms of clinical hypnosis. Proven pain management,
100%,
addiction,
100%,
weight loss, correct?
100%.
Weight loss. Okay, can you explain to us how this works? Smoking cessation, yeah.
I mean, you can go from everything from the very basic, like small addictive issues or weight, to literally putting somebody in a state where you can cut them open.
What's the control room?
So you were just talking about this. Kai was talking about this. Yeah. That's the spirit doctors who are actual people who can do surgeries on people without anesthesia. It's literally the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
So that's a real thing?
And I call a lot of what I do spiritual surgery because I'm in there and I'm like, and I'm pulling and I'm cutting. I'm not literally cutting, but with my energy, I'm doing surgery. But literally you can do surgery. And you take them so out of the brain state that is functioning, and you put them into something called somnambulism. They become stiff as a board. You can pick them up sometimes and move them like a piece of furniture.
Oh, I remember playing that witch game as a kid. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. But it's actually...
What?
It happens.
What?
Light as a feather, stiff as a board. It's a witch game that you play when you're 12 years old.
Which game are you playing at 12?
You put somebody on the ground and you put your fingers underneath them, like with some friends, and you say light as a feather, stiff as a board, and you can actually lift people up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're dropping their brain state.
Whoa, badass 12-year-olds and no internet at that time.
And we did that. That is so funny because I did the same thing.
You did that too?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so go back to
people were so scared of me. They thought I was like the scariest person on the world.
Don't fuck with the Sigmas. Okay. Can we go to somnambulism?
Wait, the room.
Yeah, the control room. Can you break all this down for us?
So control room is so fascinating to me. I love it so much because essentially you drop somebody into a very calm brain state, and it does not even have to be. Somnambulism is out. Like they're out. They look asleep. You can do incredible things with very light hypnosis. Some things require a little deeper, but in relatively light hypnosis, you can ask somebody to enter a room. So they start to imagine this room, and then they imagine all these switches, and you ask their subconscious mind to go over and start safely, only to what they're comfortable to do, to level down the pain. It's remarkable. I mean, you can take somebody from being, they cannot move, to being super functional. It's wild. And it's simply just asking the brain to release the trauma. If your brain's saying, oh my God, I'm in peril. So I'm going to protect you and I'm going to do this. And so it shuts down your body systems. So all we're doing is asking the brain to let it go. Just let it go. Okay, let's level it down. Only to the point that you're ready. And it works. But imagine that simple thing of leveling down. What if you did that with everything in your life? What if you realize that life is a control room and you could go and you could literally manipulate the levels to which you want to live and feel and function? Because that's how powerful we are. Because hypnosis, it's all self-hypnosis. It's you. I'm just the guide. I'm just the person that allows you to drop into yourself.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So somebody that was like really good at this or able to get into that sort of alter state themselves, it's probably something that they could learn to do themselves, but it would just take a lot of practice.
Do you do this for yourself?
Oh yeah. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And I always say, I know practitioners that don't do the work. You got to do the work. You better be doing that work. You better be doing your breath work. You better be doing your own energy healing. You are your own healer. And we were talking earlier about the wounded healer archetype. You know, healers often come very wounded to this planet and they get the choice. They get to heal themselves first. Then they get to go help others. You can't do it if you're not healed. You cannot do it. So a lot of people get caught in that trap.
One of the fascinating things, I'm just going to call it out, as you're saying all this, we're going to level it down. And then you have the choice. I'm feeling things like unlock in my solar plexus and my sacral, like kind of like stiffness. So thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome.
This is very important. And I want to go through, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
First, pain management, why you will not bring the pain all the way to zero implies that pain has a function. And I think it's very liberating for people to understand the function of pain so they stop viewing it as a burden and start thinking of it as a gift. So can you explain to us why pain is important? Some pain?
We're human. Sometimes we forget that. You know, we are built with these mechanisms because we need them. It's just they've run amok. But we need adrenaline. We need the ability to run when we need to run, to fight when we need to protect ourselves. And also we need to know there are people that can't feel pain, right? These are horrible lives. These people, I mean, there was just a movie on about it. It was actually an interesting love story and very violent. But without that pain mechanism, we would die very easily. You know, we would be swallowing our tongues and we have to understand, we have to feel. So feeling is beautiful. Yeah. Feeling is gorgeous. Like even when I talk about Kundalini energy, because it can feel sometimes sexual and people get they're scared of their sexuality. And I think sometimes we live in a culture where we're told that's not okay to be sexual. Well, we were made that way. So when we fight against those things, we block ourselves from creation and joy and pleasure. And aren't we here to do that? We can be brainwashed into believing all pain is bad. No, we have to have it. We're humans. All things serve a purpose in the right order.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing that we experience that does not serve a purpose, whether it's for bliss, joy, creation, or learning, right? And I always ask myself, well, was that for learning or was that something that was meant for me to just be? You always have to understand that because sometimes the painful parts, they're learning. And I know people just say that over and over, but in order to really embody that idea, you have to know that the pain and that the learning is part of it.
Yeah, right.
I love that.
We learn through suffering, honestly. Like that is the fastest catapult.
Yeah.
We had Sebastian Scales on, and he was talking about that, like the further back you can go into like the suffering and actually face it, the more you will slingshot the rubber band effect all the way into like true healing.
That's why I talk about sit down and look in the mirror. It can hurt.
Yeah, mirror work.
Mirror work, it can hurt. Because once you get past just, here's what I look like, you start looking, you start seeing yourself. You shape shift. I see people shape shift all the time. Most people can't see it, but I see it all the time. And the more you sit And the more you allow them to speak, the more they'll shift.
Yeah.
And that's also an interesting thing. I think we were talking about NLP the other day.
Neurolinguistics.
Neurolinguistic programming. It's powerful.
Is it different from hypnosis?
Yes and no. We are always hypnotizing each other if we're aware of it. And we're always being hypnotized by the world. Awareness makes it the difference. When you sit with somebody and you're using NLP thoughtfully, they use it in business a lot because it helps people get into the psyche. And it's a cadence. It's a certain way to place words. And it's really powerful. So it is, in my opinion, a form of hypnosis. And a lot of hypnotherapists will go the next level and learn NLP. But also a lot of very high level leaders understand it, and they will bring in someone to teach their staff because it's unbelievably powerful how you express yourself.
Can you teach our audience what neurolinguistics, just how it functions?
Yeah, just like the short version is, first, you want to sit and really listen. Listening's everything. So you listen, you respond. You may use mirroring techniques, like I may start talking to you like this. I'm going to put you at ease because you're going to understand that I'm with you. You're going to pick up on certain mannerisms. And then once you get into that flow, you start pacing yourself. So you're not coming at people and you're pacing yourself. And you're using a certain tone, and you're going to want to match. If their energy is too high, you're going to want to pull down, so they'll pull down. If they're too down, you're going to want to pace them up. And then there's a lot of nuances, right? I mean, this is not super easy, but you can pick up a simple book because there are phrases in certain ways, in certain circumstances, to use phrasing. Certain words will just draw people in. So similar to hypnosis, the moment you sit in a hypnosis session, you're going to start being with that person. They get comfortable. They see themselves in you. So again, it's not a parrot. It's a mirror.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's something in our brains, mirror neurons, and scientists discuss the function of them a lot, but they believe it's for tools of learning, and essentially your mirror neurons make you see any person you're looking at or listening to. You're listening to us. You're going to see yourselves in us. I think it's interesting because I think that's just the truth of reality, that we are all our other selves and mirrors for each other.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's somewhat tapping into, it's almost like you're prompting the mirror neurons by mirroring their body language, giving affirmative statements, things like that. Fucking fascinating. Can we go back to the control room?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I fully understand what's going on. Like, what is the control room?
Well, first of all, the control room is you. You are the control room. All I'm asking for you is to enter yourself and to envision. And I might create a different control situation for different people, because I'm going to understand you. I'm going to start to envision the room that I might see for you, and then you'll create it. But so you want to kind of lead them to that right place. But once they're in the brain state that is so relaxed, they often are able to just blast off into their subconscious dream state. If I'm like, hey, you're in your own room and you see a panel on the wall and the pain is a level 10 and that controller is right here. How do you feel about leveling that down? And then I wait for the body will tell me. The body responds and tells me if you've done it. And then I'll double check and I'll have to make sure you're still in the right state. And then we'll go to the next panel. Are you ready to level that down?
Yes.
I wait. And the finger goes.
The finger flicks?
The finger flicks. I'll ask, show me on your left hand. And the finger moves. And then I know.
Whoa.
So that's how I know that the subconscious mind is it's working.
Whoa. So you're just plugging, you're essentially bypassing the conscious mind to go to the subconscious mind to reprogram it.
Yeah.
Insane. Fascinating. And one time you told me you got some channel to do some hypnosis to me for some God code. Please bring it on at some point when the time's right. We would like all the hypnosis. Okay, but let's talk a little about a project we have together right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're partnering on a project. This will be our first time really talking about this.
So excited.
Yes, and our intention and interest is sort of, how do we bring science into the ritual space? How do you bring science and magic magic. That's MAGICK together. How, so, I mean, I'm curious if you have anything you want to share about the project. We've not spoken too extensively about it.
It's so exciting because I think we discussed, I came to spiritualism through science. That was my gateway. My gateway to open my heart was through science because I felt that I was very logical and I loved science. I still do. And so when we started discussing this project, I felt so passionate about it because I know that it's really difficult to explain the unexplainable. But if we can get as close as we can to showing people that this is real, then we can help people shift. It's the greatest way. Because a lot of us that are already open, we already know this. And we're dabbling, we're having fun, we're doing all these different things. But those people that haven't come to that space yet, the science can lead them there. So if we can get some of this into a larger audience that can be, drawn from a very logical mindset into spirit, that is the most exciting thing I can think of. And I know that there are people doing that right now. Joe Dispenza, other people that are measuring brain states, energy states, and scientifically showing what meditation can do and remote healings. Those I love that.
Remote healings?
Yeah, because, coming from the energy space, I love to put hands on people, but they're actually starting to show that sometimes the remote work is more powerful.
What? Really?
Yeah. And also with hypnosis because, and now I understand why. So when somebody's in a very relaxed state and they're in their home, let's say, and they're very comfortable there and they're not afraid, they'll go deeper, faster, deeper, quicker. So the results are quantum. We love to talk about quantum, but that's literally an entanglement. You don't have to touch a person in order to change their lives. There's something that occurs when those energies come together and that the receiver is in a state of comfort. They can receive more easily.
Yeah.
So they're not scared. And so most of our lives are issues that we're scared of everything. So we don't allow it. I'm scared. So the more comfortable we can make it. But to be part of the movement of showing that this is absolutely true, this is happening, we can shift the planet. Yeah. We can shift our consciousness. And isn't that what we're all doing? Yeah. That's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. There's something about stretching the window of what people think is possible.
Yeah.
Stretching the collective reality.
Yeah.
I think it allows whatever the new paradigm to come in, and, stretching the Overton window. It allows more room for all that are on the outskirts, isolated and ostracized from the village of Earth,
Amazing. Suffering as a kid, seeing and feeling things that I knew were real because I knew I was not crazy, but they didn't make sense. We have to make sure that people know that it does make sense. Yeah. That it is real. And so the quicker we can shift towards that, the quicker we can step into why we're actually here.
I'm glad you said that. And Tanya, I don't know if you feel the same way. There's something inside of me that wants to do it for the kid that feels alone.
Yes.
We can look at, something like a revolution of compassion around something like the LGBTQ community, right?
Yeah.
It's the same revolution of compassion.
Absolutely.
It's the same listening to these people in the shadows that are being overlooked and dismissed and being invited to have a seat at the table and share their experience as also an intrinsic piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Because we will not understand the full picture until we invite these people to have a seat at the table.
Absolutely. And I remember I was just speaking to one of my co-creators this afternoon about, she works a lot with children. And I find that we got to get to the children. We have to let these spiritual children know that they're seen. Mm-hmm. We have to help them develop that. But I was talking about when I was a kid, none of this was a conversation, and music saved my life. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that was my channel, but
Shout out the Human Value.
Shout out to the Human Value.
Sick band, sick rock band.
Out there. Spotify. Hashtag Spotify. But yeah, because I was alone. I felt alone. And when I started discovering that people were singing to me, they were singing about my pain or my sorrow, or my feeling of why I'm on this planet, it saved my life. And then, obviously I went into music because I realized that I could do that too. But I didn't understand it was spiritual. I just thought I loved music and the frequencies. I could always feel the frequencies different and uniquely. But now in reflection going, wow, as a child, had I known that I was channeling or that I was a channeler or that I had the ability to tap into frequencies on such a profound level, would have been a different life. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't do regrets. I'm not about like, oh, I wish this, I wish that. But we can do it now.
We can change it for the other generations that are coming up.
Yeah, we can do it
which is great. And I see a lot of, friends of ours who have kids. I mean, I see the way that they interact with their kids, the way that they do talk to them about their gifts or when, they don't make them feel shut down, which is really, really beautiful to see that. And it is going to change the world. It will create a completely new evolution of human, because if you're being taught that at such a young age and you're not shutting it down when you're like the most tuned in.
When you're getting programmed.
Yeah.
Because that's it. Goes back to the programming. Like if you look at a kid and a kid is sensing and feeling an energy or a spirit or they're seeing a ghost, whatever, and you laugh, you're programming them. And again, sometimes we just forget that we're doing that to everything and everybody. So that's the thing. That's the heightened level of awareness we all need right now. Because everything we do matters. How we treat people, how we raise our children, it really matters. And it matters so much right now because the balance is intense, right? And it's such an incredible time to be able. So we may not need these modalities in 20 years or whatever. We may not need healing modalities because we're healed. Like, can you imagine? We'll always have stories to tell, but what if we weren't in so much pain all the time? And so I think it's just a beautiful thing to sit with and ask, well, what if we changed our reality so that we could change it for others? So again, it kind of starts here. It starts with us. Yeah. The commitment to want to be healed and want to be amazing and want to feel love every day in your life. And making that very easy for yourself. And then that becomes easy to do it with everyone else.
Absolutely.
Right?
It definitely begins with ourselves. And because you were talking about breath work earlier, we really love to leave our audience with a practice that they can do. So do you have something that they might be able to try at home for themselves to help them tap into this energy, to calm themselves, whatever it may be?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's so much out there. And honestly, I love Wim Hof a lot. Yeah. A lot of my work is kind of similar to his.
His technique is real and his intention is pure. Yeah,
he's amazing.
Also, I love cold. I love cold plunges. It is. So if anyone is out there suffering in their bodies, between the breath work and the cold plunging, it can help wake their system up, and a lot of deep healing can happen, and especially in conjunction with. So they can always jump online and just find some of his breath work, because I love the guided work. The work I do is very guided. It has frequencies, binaural beats, so your brain's getting entrained. So the work I do is very energetic because it's beyond breath. It's got all of these, it's got hypnotic suggestion, it's got a lot, and it's got energy. But if you're at home and you just want to start tapping into the breath, my favorite is the 2-part breath. And Jeff and I were talking about that earlier. It's laying down. You don't want to do this while you're trying to drive. Laying down, don't have your head propped up too much. You're going to want to pop your belly, breathe into the belly, then into the chest, and then just gently out.
So pop your belly, mean bring the belly up, and then
breath into the belly, breath into the chest, and then release. Two parts. Breath into the belly, breath into the chest,
and release.
Release. And you can do that as long as you wish.
It's not timed. It's not timed. Like 4/4.
You can do those. I don't like rules.
Nice.
She said that. She doesn't like rules.
The girl doesn't like rules.
It's like, if I'm in here going 1, 2, 3, 4,
yeah,
I feel like I've lost the whole energy of it.
You're thinking it instead of feeling it.
That's what I want to teach people, because Again, these are all amazing and it's so great to learn, but doing is it. Doing is it. And you can't do it wrong. And there are different breaths, obviously, for different moments in your life. If you were trying to calm down, this 2-part breath is not good. It's going to give you a boost of energy. It's a dopamine hit. And if you want more dopamine, I work a lot with ADHD because I have ADHD. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Oh, okay. So I just need to I'm craving dopamine. My body wants hits. So often I was fortunate enough not to go down the drug addicted.
Ritalin rabbit hole.
Ritalin rabbit hole. But
is that what they call it?
That's what I just called it right now.
Oh,
I like it.
Some boy who's been there, done that.
Yeah. Over medicated and tortured, because you actually have a spiritual gift when you have these problems. And we just want to give drugs to those problems because we think they're problems, but they're spiritual gifts. So they're not psychosis. It's a gift. But sometimes in this dimension, we have to understand how to tap in and figure out how to manage it. So cold plunge and breath work is... It fixes the ADHD issue. Yeah. Because you basically give yourself a dopamine hit. And if you cold plunge, it'll give you a 6-hour hit, kind of like a cocaine hit. Like a cocaine hit is what? I don't know, because I don't do drugs. 30 minutes. A cold plunge hit is 6 hours.
Wow.
6 hours of what a cocaine hit would do that would give you 30 minutes of intense energy.
They need that in rehab.
They do. They need it. And so Wim Hof, I really appreciate kind of where he's coming from with this stuff, because he combines.
Talk about someone who brought science along for the ride.
Exactly. And that's such an interesting rabbit hole.
He rewrote the medical textbooks.
Yeah. Well, he proves it. I mean, he shows how they were pouring, I forget what, but something that would make you very sick over their bodies after cold plunging and after conditioning their body to receive, really nasty chemicals or whatever it was. And they were not getting sick, which it would make most people very sick. And so that's how far they're taking it. They're literally poisoning themselves to prove.
Didn't they inject him with a virus? And then he through breath and cold plunge, he systematically killed the virus while being measured.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
This truly is the future. And I know, Tanya, you, me both in ceremony have come to the realization of how shallow we breathe and disconnect our breath and how it's like your literal lifeline. And becoming a more conscious breather is almost step one. It really should come before meditation, and I wish we practice more. But
so I agree with that.
Yeah,
because I started with meditation, which was wonderful. But that breath, and that's why, Dispenza's work, because he'll have you doing the most intense breath, holding it, pulling it up your spine. That's Kundalini energy. He uses different words, but that's what's happening. You're harnessing your Kundalini energy.
It's fascinating watching Joe Dispenza and all these people like Wim Hof take all these ancient techniques, change the words, sanitize it of their spirituality, new age, hippie, religious energy, whatever it is. Just give it different words and rebrand it and send it out into the world and into the laboratory. And it's happening all over the place. Yep. And that's what we'll do with the show. We'll try to sanitize the woo off of it. We'll leave the woo for the podcast.
And that's just one of many shows that like this that we're going to be doing together.
Doing many projects together.
Yeah. We have much to do.
Yeah, much to do.
We literally talked to you for 400 hours, obviously.
I know.
But is there anything you want to leave people with? Is there anything you would like to know?
Message for the world.
Yes, you are the medicine. You are the medicine. You are. It's in you. Just figure out how to tap into it. Don't outsource it. You're so powerful. And now there's proof. There's enough proof, and we're going to continue to prove that. But know that. And that's all the work I do. I say that. You are the medicine. You are the healer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, Turu, this is not our first time meeting. Turu is our legit friend. How can they find you if they want to work with you in any capacity? I know you have developed your healing practice in Colorado and you do remote work. Do you feel comfortable giving them a way they can find you?
Yeah. My website is, my business is called Multi-Dimensional Healing.
Cool.
And we can maybe put a link, but
in the bio,
it's multi-dimensional-healing.com. And so link in the bio. Yeah, I'm still facilitating one-on-ones. I don't know how much longer I can do that.
so get her while
We're
she's
getting
here.
popular. We have a lot of projects we're in the midst of. But yeah, I love the work. And so anybody that's called to work with me, it would be Reiki, hypnosis, or Kundalini activation, or breathwork. Those are kind of the modalities.
It's really, these are a few different ways of she just does Turu, and she will just let the girl work her magic.
Just let me work my magic.
She a wizard.
does Turu.
She's an amalgamation of things, which is how it should be. That's what this is all about. Tanya, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today. If you like what we're doing here at Acid for Squares, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow. Also, we have our Patreon open, which is patreon.com/Acid for Squares. Make sure to go follow Turu. We will leave all the information down below. And thank you once again for joining us. We love you all so much. Have a really beautiful, blessed, awesome day.
Yeah, thank you, Turu. Until next time,
Until
guys.
next time.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.